a little.
Oh, give me 3 feet down, 3 feet. I'm making you laugh because you got to make me laugh, and we both gonna be crying on this damn thing.
Then we both gonna be crying, then.
Oh, my brother. Hold up.
We both.
Yeah, let me borrow.
I'm gonna shake your hand though.
Yes,
we both gonna be crying.
I mean, it's different, man. You know, I ain't. You know, first of all, I ain't never journeyed. I've never been on this journey. Mm-hmm. You know, to have something like that happen, and you know, like I said, people think. I mean, your friends and you know your family. Like I say, friends, but you know we're more like family.
Yeah.
You know, in my heart, you're a brother. You know what I'm saying? So, but your family, like everybody has their own life. You got to do what you got to do. The next person got to do what they got to do to keep processing. Life just life, as my boy AJ say. Yeah. But at the same time, people, like I said, your friends. They say, you need anything, holler at me. I got a life. Okay. You need anything, holler at me, let me know what I can do for you.
And sometimes people be bluffing.
Right, but even when people are genuine, my point is, their life still goes where their life has been going.
Yeah.
Your life is all of a sudden like, you've hit pause. Mm-hmm. Because you've lost a significant loved one, and you're trying to deal with how do you process that if you've never dealt with it before. You know, like I said, we're meant, I think just the natural order of things, we're meant to bury our parents, you know, even though that is a big hurt. I mean, it's a hurtful thing because some people, like I was talking to some guys that I work with, and, you know, they was like, you know, some of them, your grandparents raised you, depending on what your biological parent situation was. You know, some guys was raised by their grandmother and their grandfather. So either way, I think it's hard when you lose someone like that, but you're not expected to bury your kid though.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
And that's the thing. I mean, most days I'm good because I believe God always work out things for the best. Mm-hmm. Even if we can't see it, I think he's always working to make sure you're going to be all right with whatever you're going through. As long as you're giving, you know, praise to him, and as long as you're putting him in your plans, you know.
Yeah.
Meaning first, you know, asking him to, you know, show you guidance when you're moving through things. Even if you're trying to get a career, a different job, or if you're trying to go back to school, you know, it's just, you got to always put God first. And with that being said, for me, as, you know, y'all know, in my close circle know, I lost my daughter to cancer. Mm-hmm. She had stage 3 uterine cancer from the very beginning, from the very onset. It was stage 3.
Oh, wow.
And so she was only 31. She died July the 16th, 2024, last year. It's on a Tuesday. So, yeah, it ain't been a year. And some days I'm good.
Some days you're not. Yeah.
Some days I'm in the car and I just play music. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, I'm driving down the road crying, bro. Yeah. You know, because something in a certain music, certain notes, or something in a certain verse just caused me to reflect.
Yeah.
And I had to take a moment, even though I'm driving down the road, you know. So, yeah, man.
It's tough. Well, I'm about to start this, and we're going to really get into this. I'm keeping all this on the thing.
So let's do it.
Everybody can get that raw emotion.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
For the show. But welcome back to another episode of the Thin Wave Podcast. Today's a cool one, man. I got my big bro on here, man. He's I've been knowing him for a couple years now. Y'all know I talk about cigars a lot, and this guy right here, when I think about cigars, I think about him. He's my big bro. Like, you know, he's one of the guys that I look forward to. I look at and what it's like to be a man in this world, how to conduct yourself. So he's like a mentor. You know, he's all that. He's big bro. He's all of that.
Appreciate that.
And so I know in life when I needed some stuff, you came through. You put a couple dollars in my hand.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And
sure. You know.
So without further ado, I'm gonna say Andrew. You mind if I call you Andrew?
That's cool.
Because I got you on my phone as Andrew Whatley. I had to be different.
No matter. Yeah.
It's Drew Whatley, but I'm gonna say Andrew.
That's fine. Yeah. It's my biological name. I like to play off the fact, Kendrick Lamar, great rapper, but the fact, he's very popular. Excuse me, because we were pre-dialoguing, and I got in my emotions. It's gonna be a heavy subject today, and a lot of y'all, may be able to personally identify with this. Some of y'all may have identified with this through another significant other or through a friend. So yeah, but yeah. So Andrew is fine. Of course, my biological name is Andrew Lamar Watt.
Okay.
So
yeah.
So yeah, but yeah. So here we go.
That's what's up, man. I definitely been one you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Just talking about what we're gonna talk about. I think you hit with me. You could talk about a lot of things, and this hopefully this won't be the last time you on the podcast. But like,
we do this, no doubt.
Like you said, you had a significant event happen to you not even a year ago, and I'm not a person. I don't like to talk about it. I mean, you bring it up, I talk about it, but in this time, like we can have a conversation about loss. And you said no parent should have to bury their child, and you recently had to do that.
Yeah.
So overall, how does that happen? Like, what's going on with that?
Rough.
What's your feelings with that?
Ooh, man, it's rough. I tell you, it's rough. I mean, I'm gonna tell you this is gonna be the craziest thing. It was easier. Not saying it wasn't hard. It's been very hard mentally, emotionally, but it was easier than it should have been. Mm-hmm. And I say that because the last day my daughter was alive, we were all in the hospital with her. And, of course, she was, I think I told you before, she had cancer and she did the chemo for like a year. It was rough on her, but she soldiered through it, And even then, she was like going back to her job, working part-time and as many hours as she could.
Okay.
She was that much trying to, that tough trying to soldier through it. Like, hey, I got this going on with cancer. Chemo is making me weak. I ain't working for these 4 days, but Daddy, next week I'm trying to go back to work. Yeah. I got to get my money. Yeah. I'm like, what? So yeah, that was her attitude. Mm-hmm. So the last day she was alive, we all in the hospital, and we're asking her, Courtney, you need anything? And she was like, I'm fine. Mm-hmm. And I was like, are you sure? She was like, I'm fine. So her mom is in there hugging on her, about to break down and cry. And she was like, Mama, I'm good. Mm-hmm. She was like, I'm worried about you. Yeah. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. And dude, I'm telling you, for a 31-year-old kid to say that, yeah. Because everybody, if it was your daughter, man, you'd be like, man, we finna, oh man, it's gonna be like church. It's gonna be crying and tissue and everything, man. And we were there. We were at that point, but she was like, I don't need anything. Mm-hmm. I'm fine. And what I realized was my daughter had been talking to God. Mm-hmm. She's a believer, been born that way. When they were kids, we had them in church anyway. Yeah. So, but what me and her mother didn't know, that without always talking to us about it, she had been processing her situation and talking to God the whole time. Now, rewind back to, after the year she went through the chemo, y'all got to excuse me all this. I'm still kind of tearing up. That's just something, and I'm an emotional person anyway, being a Pisces, and that's just something, it's my brother know that's just, it's a genuine subject, and it's not a lighthearted subject, and you can't just sugarcoat it. And some guys be on here, man, I'm not gonna cry, man, but guys need to be able to show their true feelings. Mm-hmm. Like you were saying, being men, being grown men, and being responsible men in this society, you need to be able to show your emotions. Mm-hmm. That don't make you soft or none of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I had to learn that.
Yeah.
Holding stuff in, and I still have a hard time with holding my emotions in and dealing with it. But I try to process my emotions because I feel a lot better. I think when I was about to turn 30, you know, I'm a couple weeks. I'll be 40 years old.
Yeah.
So
that's what's up.
About 10 years ago, you know, I really started working on
right.
the process, even been in a wheelchair.
Right.
But my emotions about that and how I felt about that. And, you know, I just learned that God gave us every emotion. Yeah. And I recently, and not we're not getting off topic because we're going to
block everything. We good. We good. Yeah.
And so there's a lady named Brene Brown, I think. I listened to her YouTube, and she said when you mute when you mute a negative emotion, you mute the good emotions too.
That's right.
So if I mute the being sad and angry, I'm not truly happy or joyful or whatever.
That's right.
So you got to deal with your issues. You got to deal with your emotions, no matter if they're good or bad. Because if you mute one, they're all linked together. So
that's right.
You got to deal with all of them. Yeah. Because you can't experience happiness without pain or anything like that. So
I agree, because you know I feel like every people say every action has an equal opposite reaction. You know, so if I said that correct, but y'all know what I mean. You know, if you got negative, you got positive. Everything has an equal. You know, so I agree with that totally, man. You know, you have to. You know, it's like you can't. Based on like kind of what you're saying, you can't expect to do well and be successful if you can't wish your brother to be well and successful. If your brother's well and successful, you can't be mad at him or have jealousy or have an evil eye toward him and then expect God to bless you and you to be successful. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So yeah.
So I want to get back, but I want to get a little story, a little backstory.
Okay.
From you. So you're from Chattanooga. You were born and raised in Chattanooga, or you were just raised in Chattanooga?
No, born and raised in Chat.
Okay.
Yeah, originally from the South Side. So originally from the South Side. When I was young, we moved to the East Side, which South Side, if people know, it's Alton Park area, South Side. I was born and started my life, and my parents lived on Frederick Street.
Okay.
So
that was Frederick Street, because I don't really know Chattanooga.
I was a little kid, and it was rough over there back in them days, because that whole area was rough. But you had proud blackness, and you had black businesses too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but it was still more, looking at the rest of the city, more of an impoverished area too, though, somewhat, because a lot of my family grew up in the projects right there. Frederick Street was like just literally a block from Alton Park Projects, and the rest of my family was in the Alton Park Projects. So, and I had family in Willow Homes, and I had family in East Lake Projects. Now that's moving to the east side and stuff. So when I was young, my parents moved to the east side, I've said Chattanooga, which we moved to Glenwood. So I grew up in Glenwood. Yeah.
That's what, you just play sports and stuff when you grew up?
I did, man. Had childhood asthma though, man.
Okay.
I tell people, me and Chuck, I messed with Chuck.
I just had Chuck on here a couple weeks ago.
Because Chuck, man, I love Chuck, man. Chuck played ball, took it to the college level. Should have been a pro ball player. But so I joked with him about that, because they were like, "Well, did you play?" Yeah, I played, man. I had asthma real bad, so I had to quit when I was the starting cornerback my freshman year.
Oh man.
Asthma just got in, it just wrecked me, man. And back then they didn't have medicines. Medicines was crappy for asthma treatment, and they couldn't treat that stuff like they can now. Now you on the sideline, they go over there, they got stuff for you. You give them 15 minutes on the sideline, you back 100. You know what I mean? That stuff didn't exist, so I had to let it go, man. But definitely stayed in sports my entire life. Like from a small kid up. I love to swim. I remember learning to swim by almost drowning. one of my big homies, man, he treated me like a little brother. My homeboy Cedric Dickens, he called him Mojo. Mojo, man, is no longer with us. Unfortunately, some things happened to him last year. And he was murdered. I put it that way. I don't care how they call it, but
that's what it is.
But anyway, that dude taught me how to ride. He always was the kid that had the toys when we was coming up. So that joker had go-karts, motorcycles, all that, man. He taught me how to drive go-karts, taught me how to ride motorcycles. You know what I'm saying? So we talking like young kid. I started like riding motorcycles when I was 7, 8 years old because of Mojo. I wanted to be like Mojo. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So he taught me how to ride motorcycles and stuff like that, man. You know what I'm saying? So
you talk about him, and I just, I look at you like a role model. Like I just gave you flowers at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
How it's important to like have those type of people in your life?
Man, it's real important because you got to understand everybody's family structure is different.
Mm-hmm.
My family, I was the baby. Mm-hmm. So my two oldest brothers, I have a brother named Paul Alexander. He is the middle. He would be the middle child.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest brother, Ernest Love. You know what I'm saying? So they were so much older than me that when my mother got pregnant with me, she was 41 years old when she had me. So, they were 14 and 16, if I remember correctly at the time, because Ernest is 16 years older than me, and I think Paul's about 14 years older than me, roughly, yeah. Paul lives in Rome, of course, Ernest is in Chattanooga, but Ernest had lived in L.A. and all that stuff. He was military, And so, with that being said, I basically grew up in the house by myself.
Okay.
Because by the time I start coming up and realizing, hey, I can go outside, I can meet friends, we live on this block, they grown.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They gone. So, so basically I grew up, in the house by myself. So with that being said, when we first moved over and I met people like Mojo, other guys that on the street like that, Ant, his brother Travis, all them, his cousin Fitzgerald. I grew up with all those cats, man. There's so many, like my cousins Rodney and Kenny. They were, even though they were friends and cousins, they were more like brothers to me because my brothers was gone. Mm-hmm. So, it's like, and then my homeboy Block, that's my ace coon boom, you know what I'm saying? So, he became like my big brother because Block actually a little older than me, man. Mm-hmm. And and so on, even involved into later in the music career which we was doing, Clay, K-Knight, them guys were like brothers to me because my brothers, I didn't grow up in a house with brothers. Yeah. They were grown, so. But, that's here and there. We're not really getting off topic, but I'm just giving you a little background about me,
Yeah.
And so with that being said, that's why I'm emotional about people in my circle.
Yeah.
I'm emotional about people in my circle because if I bring you into my circle, it really means I'm really displaying my heart. Mm-hmm. And I don't do that just for anybody. For sure. It really means something. Mm-hmm. I've even been told before that I'm so emotional and heartfelt that when I bring people into my circle, that I've been told by an ex before that I'm loyal to people way longer than they loyal to me.
How you feel about that?
Man.
What that
Nobody's ever told me that before till she told me that. And I'm going to tell you, if she even see this, she'll laugh about that now. But I mean, even then, I was like, man, what? It just hit me, but it never left me. Mm-hmm. And even as time went on, I still think about that statement because I think about how I treat people and how I receive people. So it made me think. It made me think. Am I just too easy to let people into my circle because I'm built on trust and loyalty, mm-hmm. And principles. Like a lot of stuff is about the principle with me.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah. So, but that never left me.
I think I'm kind of like that too. I always say like, if I stop talking to you, it's like because I couldn't take it no more. Like I feel justified in letting the friendship or relationship go. Yeah. So like I probably kept the relationship going on too long. Yeah. But once it's gone,
it's gone.
It's gone.
And I'm the same way. Yeah, I'm the same way.
It's like in my mind, in my heart, I got to be justified to let somebody go.
Yeah, me too.
So I feel that. So I don't think it's like being vulnerable. Like you open up yourself for heartbreak and things like that. Like that's a part of life. I was telling somebody yesterday. Yeah. But this and I'm like, like it's not a bad thing for you to be vulnerable.
No, it's part of your growth too. Yeah. I think as people and as a human, as a man, I think it's part of your growth because everything in life, I think, and I'm sure we agree with this, everything in life you go through is a lesson. Whether it's a bad experience, a good experience, because I ultimately think God is at the center of everything. He controls everything. So everything you go through, he has a point to make why you go through that or why things turn out the way they turn out. And a lot of times it's to show you something or it's either to show somebody around you something. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean? Yeah, so, yeah.
And here's the thing, man. I conduct myself. I try to conduct myself integrity, things like that, and that's why people. I always be blessed by people. Like I went to the cookie shop the other day, and you know, the lady across the street at the candle, they sell things. She had a little bag and stuff coming across the street. You know, I just stopped because she coming to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, what you got there? She's like, you said you had a birthday coming up. And I was just in there chopping it up without it. You know, I think I bought something, but I was just in there just, hey, how you doing? It's been a long time since I talked to you. And I was like, yeah, I like your little tobacco amber, you know, scent. I really like that.
Okay.
And, you know, I used to go in there and buy different things just to support. You know, I ain't really got too much money, but when I do, I use it support. I go buy stuff, but I haven't bought the candle. And she's like, oh, that's perfect. So she gave me a candle for my birthday, early birthday. And I was like, thank you. That meant a lot to me. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I'm big on relationships with people, man, and showing that I care and showing that love, because a lot of people don't get it.
That's right. You're right. Man, I got a lot of that from my mother, man. The way my mother raised me and the way my mother was as a person. My mother, she used to get, as a matter of fact, we were speaking of my daughter earlier, and we'll get back to that. When my daughter was healthy and doing her thing, working, but she wasn't necessarily making enough money all the time. And, you know, me and her mom would, you know, give her money or whatever. And then, like, my mother would give her money. Like, I think something changed in my daughter when my mother passed, because they were like two peas in a pod. Okay. I think even to the point sometimes they would gang up on me. You know what I'm saying? So saying that, like, if she needed a few dollars, Courtney would be like, Dad, I need a few dollars for this and this and that. Okay, cool. All right, boom, there you go. So it might be a week later or 2 weeks later, Dad, I need a few dollars for this. Hold up, I just gave you such and such. My mom, hey, that's my grandbaby. That's your baby. You better come up out those pockets. I don't want to hear no fussing. I'm like, Mom, I don't want to hear that. That's your baby. You do. I don't care what. I don't care what is. You do. Yeah. And so my mom was like that. My mom would give a person the shirt off her back, man. And she instilled that in me. And you, of course, you know, I mean, I don't have to talk about it. People that know me know who I am. You know, they know, you know, I'm a giving person. And I don't have to talk about it or brag about it, because I'm not. But you know,
I'm gonna talk about it and brag about it. Because, you know, you ain't gotta do it. But I just tell you, man, one time, and I hate losing my wallet. And I remember I came in here, I lost my wallet, and I was like, I'm more pissed off at myself than losing my stuff. You know, I got to call, and that's inconvenient. But I'm mad that I lost my wallet. And you know, you shook my hand, and there was a couple bills in that day. It could have been $20. It could have been $5. But the fact that you was like, yo, here you go, like that touched me. And it ain't about the money. No doubt. It's the fact that you have my back. You was like, yo, like, until you get your credit card, I know you're gonna be, you got to cancel those. I know you got to cancel. So here's a couple dollars. And knowing them like, hey, I ain't got no money, because all my money gonna be froze until I get my
till you get your situation straightened out. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, and I wasn't even thinking about that until you actually did that. And I was like, man. So from the jump, it was like, you was always kind of like, once we like, you came in, once we get to know each other, had the number like, yo, I know I can hit you up. Now, I don't call you like that all the time.
Right, no, you don't, but you know you can.
If I ain't seen you in a while, hey, big bro, where you at?
Yeah, I know you'll be like, man, you coming up to the line, man, I ain't seen you in 3 Sundays. What's up? You know, have church people, I ain't seen you in 12 Sundays.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah. So,
you know, like, I'm not really like that with my family sometimes. Like, I cannot think about people that mean a lot to me. I think about people, but it's just hard for you to pick up the phone sometimes. If you're not like in my vision sometimes. Right. Because I'm like, especially now, I'm trying to do things that make some money and things like that. So if you're not in my vision, I'm just like, my mind.
You got to do what you got to do, because you focus on something. Yeah. I mean, number one, this podcast, this is your baby. So, you know, you focus on doing things that are important to you and things that are going to bring monetary value to your life as well. You know, that's what it's all about, man. You know, you know, I got a bunch of cats, man, I love to death, man. And I haven't probably talked to some of them cats in way too long. Now, it ain't that I've placed them somewhere else in my life for as how I feel about them. I still feel the same about them as day one. Yeah. It's just their life is life, and they doing what they got to do, and their life is take different turns. I'm doing what I have to do. You know, my life is because as you could be just like this, inseparable as kids.
Yeah.
Y'all, that could be your dog from day one. You know what I'm saying? But as you get older, you do other things. They do other things. Like you might go to school. They might go to the military, or they might go to college, play ball, or whatever. You might just work a 9 to 5. That's still your guy.
Yeah.
But your life just does this, and then once you have a family, they have them. Then it spreads out even more.
Yeah.
You still love that person the same, but you won't see them as much. That don't mean, and you may not communicate with them as much. That doesn't mean that you love them any less. It's just as adults, our journey is not going to always be aligned with the person that you're cool with. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. Yeah.
Even with your family, like I remember growing up, man. Like man, me and my brother, we always gonna live in the same state.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't. He done lived in a couple states. I moved to Tennessee. He joined the military. He was in the Navy, which you were in there. And it's funny. I mean, you got a family now and things like that. So it was like, I remember when he went to Japan, right out, doing a boot camp in high school. It was a little hard for me because, like you said, life goes different ways.
Right.
We family. Like,
right. Yeah.
Now he's in Japan and the Navy. He's got a family now. You know what I'm saying? Which is good for me because I got an extended family. Like, I got more family. I got 2 nephews, a sister-in-law. Sometimes we get along better than I get along with my brother.
That's what's up. And that's just the way life works. Sometimes, you with somebody, then, you click. It's like you said, you got your brother. That's your brother. Y'all was like this, and y'all still like this. But sometimes in his absence, because of life and where his life takes him, like being in the military and also being in Japan, he's not able to sit with you right here today like I am.
Yeah.
And I'm not putting myself in his place. I'm just saying, but other people, and I think that's God design.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people say, some people have questioned, why did God even create us? And I've heard elders in the church say it's because of relationship. He created us for relationship.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I think I'm not taking your brother's place, but in that void, because you don't get to see him daily, you get to see me on the regular.
Yeah.
And I love you like a brother. You know that.
For
so
sure.
Yeah. So yeah.
And that's these cigars.
You like this?
Yeah, I do like this, man.
It's Avo Heritage, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, this anniversary. This is Avo Heritage. These are original Avo blends.
Right.
And before they actually went to being distributed by Davidoff after Avo passed away. And nothing against Davidoff. I love Davidoff too, but these are the original. Y'all get it. Look at that band. I don't know if we can do this, or I ain't trying to endorse no product because this is my personal cigar. That's his personal cigar. We smoking, so it ain't no big deal,
Yeah, for sure. So, man, I want to talk more about your daughter and the impact on that with you and your family now.
Okay.
But like I said, I had a brother being in the Navy. My youngest brother's 22. He just joined the Navy, which I'm proud of. And what did the Navy teach you, if anything?
Actually, I mean, it gave me focus. It gave me discipline too. And I think here's the funny thing. I think I was already pretty disciplined as a person. Anybody can be undisciplined in certain situations if you're pushed to a certain aggression or to a certain emotion. But with that being said, because I never had a curfew growing up, that's the craziest thing about me and all my homies, all my homeboys, all my partners, my kinfolk that we come up. I never had a curfew, and they used to be like, exactly. See what I'm saying? How is this working? You know what I'm saying? And my mom and dad didn't play, you know what I'm saying? But I never had, and I can't explain it. Only thing I can think about is, because like I said, my brothers were older. So the only thing I can think about is because I was the baby and I came at a time when, during that time, people was considered middle age because my parents was in their 40s, you know, and then you got a newborn. So I think with that, my mom was just really I think they took a more lenient approach to me.
Yeah.
Approach with me, I'm sorry. But but they were still very firm. Like my mom was like,
Yeah.
"You get in trouble, you know what it's gonna be."
Yeah.
But they never said you got to be in the house at 10.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I was a younger kid, of course, I never tested. So I guess for me to say I never had a curfew, I guess I didn't realize that until I started driving.
Okay.
So once I got to high school, actually, I got my first car was a 71 Plymouth Duster. I was 14 years old. My dad said, "You like this car?" Yeah, 'cause my dad used to work on cars and build engines and stuff. And like, we didn't have any money coming up. My dad was good. So, they worked, but, we didn't realize we were poor. But I'm just saying for the people out there, now we realize we come up poor. You know what I'm saying? So my dad would find a used car in good shape and say the block had water in it. The engine block had water and it won't run. My dad be like, go approach that person. How much you want for that car? Oh, it don't run, man. So, and this back way before car prices was inflated. I'm talking early 80s, you know what I mean? Late 70s, whatever. So, person might be like, my dad was named Johnny. They called him Boot. That was his nickname, Boot. Okay. So, they'd be like, Boot, if they knew him personally. Boot, man, you know what? Bring me $400, man. You can take it. Next thing I know, it'd be a car in the driveway back there by the garage. And my dad would be like, "You want that car?" I'd be like, "It don't even run." As a kid, it don't run. He'd be like, "So today Friday, right?" "Yeah, Pop." "All right, Sunday. It'll be running Sunday." Okay, cool. So this is the funniest story, man. My dude Block, man, we sitting in it. So I got the 71 Duster.
Okay.
I'm sneaking driving to school. Me and Block. He in the passenger seat. I'm sneaking driving to school. Raymond Junior High. Duster had it been wrecked on the right quarter panel. So the person previously owned it did a crappy Bondo repair job on it. It wasn't bad, so you can see the Bondo on it.
Yeah. Black
vinyl seats, all white, no hubcap, 4 ball head tires. We rolling, dog. So one day we out, and I was like, "Man, let's get on the interstate." He was like, "You free?" Now keep in mind, I'm 14 years old. We don't have no driving license. Yeah. Neither one of us 16 yet. We ride. I was like, "Man, let's see what this thing can do." I punched that thing. Man, we got up to about 65. That bad boy started shaking so much and shimming. I said, "You all right?" Boy, Block said, "Yeah." He looked over and said, "Bruh, man, if I had some milk, I'd throw it in this dashboard, dog. We could have some milkshakes. That's how bad it was shaking." So we cried laughing about that, man. I was like, "Boy, you a fool." So I slowed it down. But I had the most fun in that car without having a driving license, man. All the kids in the neighborhood knew. They were like, "Man, that dude got a car. Man, how he driving this?" You know what I'm saying? It was so. In turn, once I got my driving license, a lot of my homeboys didn't want to catch the bus. I started driving to schools because I didn't want to catch the bus because you had to get up a little earlier to catch the bus because you had to walk to the bus stop. Yeah. Back when I went to school, it's a little different now. All of them start, "Hey, come people, come school. Man, next thing I know, dude, we'll pull up in high school, bro. I got 7 people in the car. And I'm driving a 2-door. 4 in the back seat, squished up, and 3 across the front. You know what I'm saying? Man, the funnest times, though. You know what I'm saying? Funnest times, man. But not meaning to get out subject, but we, sometimes the story just, it takes you, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, for sure. But I like hearing some of these stories. You the man, so what's up?
No, I mean, I like hearing those stories. Yeah. I love hearing those stories.
I mean, people might say, that was corny joke, but man, it just, in the moment, when Block said that, boy, if I had some milk, I throw it in this glove box. Mm-hmm. Boy, we'll have some milkshakes.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. Let me see. Do that. I got a little bit of time because I definitely want to spend a little bit more time.
Sure, let's do it. I got time. I got a tax appointment later on, but ain't till 4 o'clock. We might even get to smoke another cigar.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. Yeah, so getting back, man, I remember that day. So it's funny you talk about family. Like, I love my family that God gave me.
Mm-hmm.
I love the family that I get to choose.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So these last couple of years, I've been to a couple of funerals, more in my life now than I ever had.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about that. I was sitting outside and waiting to go to your daughter's funeral.
Right.
I never met her,
Right,
but I know you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to be there for you and things like that and,
Mm-hmm.
and experience and show my support.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I know anybody, I think the world of you, so, you know, like,
appreciate it.
let's call it a spade. Like, I think the world of you, man. Like,
appreciate it.
So I'm like, I know she was cool people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
She
even what people
had a temperament like me, too. A lot of people don't get to see that, and that's cool, but, you know, yeah, but she was, man. Yeah.
You know, and I was thinking about, like, man, like, I've been to a couple funerals these last couple years, and I could tell, like, this is what family's about.
Yeah.
Before somebody passed away, like, I ain't that close, I don't have to go.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, something happened with one of my friends, loved ones, somebody important to them passed away, you want to be there for them? No question.
Yeah.
No question, I'm going. And I don't even like funerals, but I'm going to go. So it's like, man, like, and I started thinking how blessed I was to have the opportunity to experience those things, even though they're not a joyous occasion. But those are the times you really know who your friends are, your people are, your family, when they support you in the non-joyous occasions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm getting off on a tangent, but
No,
I kind of smile at, you know, say thank God for the people that I love that are not my family that I got to choose to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because family ain't always blood. It ain't always biological. Sometimes it's your life experience draw you to people, and y'all become family. You know, so yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. You know.
So I'm like, I dig that, man.
Yeah.
So doing that, so like, how, what is your daughter's name again?
Courtney Latisse Whatley.
She was 31 years old.
31 years old.
She grew up. Did she in Cleveland or Chad?
No, she grew up in Chad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was she your only daughter? I know these things, but I'm trying to.
She's my only biological daughter.
Okay.
Now, of course, I'm married, and then my present wife has a son and daughter, which his name is Andrew, and my son is named Andrew.
Okay, cool.
So, like I said, typically I go by Drew, my son go by Drew, my stepson go by Andrew. Okay. And I have a stepdaughter because my wife had a son and daughter, Andrew and Jamie.
Okay.
So, yeah, and Jamie is married to Chris. So, Jamie is married. Out of those now, Jamie's the only one married. My Andrew's never been married. Her Andrew's never been married. Courtney was married. So, when she was married, she was Courtney Latisse Kelsey.
Okay.
Whatley Kelsey. So, yeah. Okay. So, you know, with that, I got 4 grandbabies, and they're all just from my side. So my stepkids don't have any kids, you know. But so yeah, I got 3 grandsons and 1 granddaughter. She's the oldest. Being a grandfather is challenging for me, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be totally honest. I don't get to spend the time with them that a grandfather should spend with them, and a lot of that is just because I guess being where I'm at in my age and still actively working a lot, because you know, typically when you think about granddad, typically, you know, when you're a kid, your granddad's already retired, or he's about there, and so when you spend time around him, it's just you spending time around him because he really bring that grandpa. He ain't got nothing to do, you know, as far as you know, a job situation where he's definitely punching the clock every day or whatever. So with that being said, man, I love him to death, man, but I don't get to spend time with him, and a lot of that is on me. You know, I don't spend time with him the way I should, but nevertheless, I love him just the same, 100. And anytime there's anything that they needed, whether it been school supplies, clothes, you know, money for this or whatever, I've always made sure they had that from, you know, on my part. If they came to me and say, hey, granddad, this, and that, you know, or my kids say, hey, dad, this, I've always done it. Me and my wife, like around Christmas, we used to call Courtney up and Drew up and be like, hey, what the grandbaby want for Christmas, such and such, you know. Well, this and that. Well, you know, hey, I'm just going to be honest with you. And like I said, I'm keeping it totally transparent. No, I'm not going out to 300 stores and looking for toys. I'm sorry. A lot of grandparents, they think you're supposed to do that. I'm not disagreeing with that. I don't have the time for that. So I say, well, let us do this. Take this right here. Here's the money. Get them what they want. Let us bring it, bring them to the house on Christmas. Let us see the toys. Let us see what they got. Blah blah blah. We good. Let's eat. So but yeah. So with that being said, man, my daughter, man, she was me. My son is. It's funny how you can have two kids and they still embody your personality, and along as well with their mom personality. I'm not trying to leave their mom out, but when I'm around them, their mom around them, she sees something different.
Yeah, for sure.
When I'm around them, I see something different. I see me. I see me in different capacities. Like with my son, he has a temperament like me. We go 0 to 100, but he's quiet. Mm-hmm. I'm a talker. My son is quiet, so he's. I can be quiet. He's the other side.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, he's kind of like me and how my dad was. My dad, like when I was a kid, everybody have parents that get into an argument. My mom would get into an argument with my dad, and my mom would be very vocal. My dad would just be like, I ain't gonna listen to all that mess. And go out, light his pipe or light his cigar. That's where I got the cigar smoking from. Or get his red man chew tobacco. Sit on that porch. I ain't listening to that mess.
Yeah.
My dad would never really engage in a lot of argument. He might say a few, and then it get to a point where he just like, all right, hey, I'm not going with that. I'm done.
Yeah.
When he say he done, he done.
Yeah,
like sure. That joker, he'd go on that porch, like I said, hit that chew, and if you still making him mad, guess what? That old 98, my dad used to love Oldsmobiles, man, but he loved Ford trucks. So I get my love of cars from my dad. That joker get in that 98, and that's it. Yeah. You ain't gonna see him for hours.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but so going back to that, Drew has a lot of my dad in him. He's quiet. He's like a quiet storm.
Yeah.
He's cool as a fan, but when you piss him off, you look at him like, man, where'd that come from? You know what I'm saying? Now my daughter, Courtney, is a different me. Mm-hmm. Because your children are a reflection of you.
Yeah.
So my son is me in my most calm demeanor.
Okay.
My daughter is me when I'm on the borderline of being a hell raiser. You know what I'm saying? My daughter. So, and my mom, I got that from my mom. My dad was so. I mean, in my life, my experience with my dad, he was so non-confrontational. Mm-hmm. My mom, you gonna know.
Yeah.
You gonna know immediately if you pissed her off. My mom was the one that told me when I was a kid, hey, you got problems at school? You fight. Better not come in here and ain't fought nobody. I better not ever hear about you running from nobody. But if it's more than one and you can't handle them, she was like, you get the biggest brick of stick and you bash their brains in. That was my mom. My daddy never told me you bust their head to the white meat. That was my mom.
Okay.
My dad was just a quiet storm, though. When he went there, he went there.
But the quiet storm, man, they scary.
We ain't gonna get into that because there's a time when my dad got mad at my older brother. My dad pulled a gun out on him. So he that guy.
Yeah.
But it took a minute to get there. He just listened to him back. My brother trying to back up. My brother grown.
Yeah.
They backed him back. And he's like, all right, keep running your mouth. Next thing you know, my daddy got up. And the neighbor, real cool, my dad saw what my dad was up to. He ran over to the house like, Johnny, no. And he caught my dad down. I don't know what was going to happen that day, but my dad was about to go there. You know what I'm saying? And Courtney, she got some of that in her too. She was the same way. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, she was a heartache to me, and she was a heart blessing to me. Because she was your personality encompassed more than one thing.
Yeah. And
she was me, I say more 360 of me than my son Drew is.
Yeah, I think I grew up not knowing my biological father. And, I was raised by, my brother's father. Mm-hmm. Which I call it dad. Matter of fact, I didn't even know till I was in 3rd, 4th grade that he wasn't my biological.
Yeah.
And it mentally it did something to me.
Okay.
But I love the dude. You know, my dad now calling out, what up, Dad? What's going on? What up? Even now, like, go to his house. He's got my brother and my childhood pictures in his house.
That's what's
you know what I'm saying? He always loved me like I was own. So, yeah, even though, like, he wasn't my biological, there were still things I took from him, too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And things like that. And so it's like, I always kind of wondered about my biological, where I really come from, and some of my uncles and aunties. You know, now I'm on there with some of my cousins. And, you know, I don't really call them my cousins, but
right. I got
cousins and stuff like that on Facebook from my biological side. And kind of like, dang, what if I knew them? But like, it's tough not knowing your history. You talking about where the kids got stuff from you and things like that. It's like, what did I get from my biological?
Right. Yeah.
Or it's easier for me to say all the negative things I like about me. Like, I got it from him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's easier for me to say that. Like, I ain't really never sat down with a person had a conversation. I talked to him on the phone. And I'll say this on the air, too. The man lives in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I ain't never met him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's a time and a season for everything. It may be, you never know. One day you might wake up and God might put it on your heart and say, you know what? I'm going to have to take the biggest step and make this happen.
Yeah.
And you never know. If that happens, when you get in his face, he may be like, you know what? I've been meaning to do this, but I just haven't brought myself to it. And then all of a sudden, that's going to be an emotional explosion to the fact because you've been thinking about that. That's been on your heart, and it's been on his heart, but he ain't verbally saying it. You know what I mean? My dad was like, he was man of few words, man. Like I said, like that. That joke. Here's an interesting fact. When you talk about that, me and my mom, love you, son. You know I love you, mama, love you every single day of my life. My dad never told me he loved me until I made that phone call. Because when you go to boot camp, they let you call your folks and let them know you made it. First time my dad said, I love you. I knew he loved me because he come up. You got to understand, my parents were born late 20s. So it's a different time.
Yeah, for sure.
Coming up black, it's a different time. So men wasn't supposed to show any weakness like we were just speaking of earlier, not show no emotion. My dad, it was understood he loved me. It was for me to understand that he loves me. But for him to say that, like my mom would, David, I guess in his mind, he processed that as like weakness. I ain't finna make this boy weak. And I'm not finna display any soft emotions. You know what I mean? So but so I get it, man.
It's funny because for me, you look up to your father or whoever's in your life. So like growing up, I only see my pops cry at church. So that's the only place I feel comfortable. Crying.
I got you. Church. When my daughter was passing away, we crying. Me, her mama, her cousin, everybody in the room, even her friends that came, everybody. And she, like, up until, like, so her last day alive, she, like, was still, like, looking at her phone, like, answering texts, people texting her, up until probably about 3 to 3.5, maybe 4 hours before she actually passed away. And so to bring that full circle, because I haven't explained that to you. So she went through the chemo for 1 year. It reduced the mass. And she actually even went to Houston to look at having surgery at MD Anderson, which supposed to be the best cancer place in the United States. They told her she wasn't a good candidate for surgery because the mass, they want her to continue chemo to continually shrink the cancer mass. Well, the day that she ended up in the hospital and never left, she went in on a Friday. She passed. She went in that weekend, Friday night. She passed, like I said, on the 16th, which was on a Tuesday of July of 2024. So, now I lost my train of thought. So, with that being said, so she was upbeat the entire time. So she told me, she said, Dad, they did I guess a CAT scan and said they found she went to the ER doctor, said your tumor is grown, and she was like, no, I just went to my doctor last week and it's shrunken so much, it's a lot smaller Then the tumor was. Well, what had happened, that doctor wasn't her primary care doctor. It was just an ER doctor. He saw the cancerous mass on the scan.
Mm-hmm.
So what it was, she had a second mass. She had developed a second mass, cancerous mass. And so from there, she was like, Dad, they talking about I need to do chemo again. She said, I'm just going to tell you the truth. That chemo was rough. She said, I soldiered through it, but it was rough. And I don't know if I want to go through that again. And I was like, well, baby, what choices do we have? The surgery, the doctor told you, when she went to MD Anderson, they said she wasn't a good candidate. So when she went to her oncologist, he was like, the mass, because it was uterine cancer. So where it was, it would, if they tried to do surgery, she might die on the table. Mm-hmm. Because he said he would have to take a lot of her reproductive organs because of where the cancer was.
Yeah.
So the chemo looked better than the surgery option, even though the chemo was so rough on her. So she said, well, I'm going to talk to one more doctor. I never met this doctor. It was a female doctor. She said, I'm going to talk to her. I respect her opinion a lot. And if she tell me to try the chemo again, then I'll do the chemo. I said, all right, we gonna definitely be keeping the prayers up. We're going to pray about this. Mm-hmm. So she goes, she talked to her. So she said, Dad, I think I'm going to do the second round of chemo, or the next phase of chemo. Now, the chemo that they use is called, and it's important for people to know this, dioxirubicin. And it is called the red chemo. It's a red drug. The nickname is the Red Devil. That's the nickname of it. It's very hard on people, not all people, but the side effect to that is it can cause irreversible heart muscle damage. The doctor said very small percentage of people are affected in that manner, but that is one of the side effects. So basically, fast forward to when my daughter passed, she was on that chemo, and that chemo basically damaged her heart. So she basically passed because she basically ended up with congestive heart failure from heart muscle damage from a side effect from the cancer drug that they used in that particular chemo cocktail. So like say when she went in the hospital, her heart rate was down. It had got down, like her heart function had got down to like, I think at first they said it was like down to 50%. Mm. So now they looking at stuff, they scrambling. The doctor was even trying to think about sending her to Vanderbilt. But she wasn't a candidate because you had to have been cancer-free, have went through cancer, went through chemo, and been cancer-free for 5 years to even be a candidate for the surgery. Because he wanted her to have a heart transplant, So, but she wasn't a candidate. She hadn't had it long enough. You had to have it at least for 5 years to be a candidate. So they tried a bunch of intravenous drug cocktails, and he was like, and he was a pretty cool doctor. He said, hey, I'm just going to be honest with you. He took us out in the hallway, and he said, I'm a believer. We'll pray. He said, we're going to pray. And he said, he said, just being transparent with you all. He said, I'm going to do everything that God give me the power to do as her doctor on my end. He said, outside of that, it's really up to what God wants.
So Drew, how important is it to, going through all this, how's it important for your doctor, her doctor to be straight up with you? And not like sugarcoat?
Very important. Especially in that situation. Very important.
Because you really want to know what's up.
Yeah.
You don't want no surprises.
That's right, yeah.
So I'd rather somebody be straight up with me than sugarcoat.
Yeah. And to be humble about it, because he was humble saying, I'm only man. He said, I'm only man. I'm going to do everything in my power, in everything as a human and capable with that God encompassed me with to do as a human. And that's basically what he told us. He said the rest would be up to God. So I'm going to try these cocktails, and if it don't cause her to start, if it don't cause her heart function to reverse and getting stronger, then he basically said it's going to be up to God. Yeah. And so, but like even then, she's still in there talking to family members. Because we outside talking to the doctor, me and her mom, and she's still in there like still looking at her phone. Oh, that's so and so, so and so. Hey, yeah, I'm in the hospital. I'm okay. I'm doing okay. While she's dying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, how strong is that?
That shows for peace, having peace.
Yes.
And that's why, I definitely, want to end our episode and to show respect. You need to show respect to your daughter. Talk about the peace that she had going away. Because a lot of people don't have peace when they're leaving this earth.
Yeah.
Some people say, yo, I just want peace in life. Well, peace doesn't, your life could be falling apart.
That's right.
I'm literally dying, but I have peace. Peace doesn't reflect what you're going through.
No.
It's that peace that you feel that
right.
Everything's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I may die, but it's still going to be okay.
Yeah.
And that's big. And
yeah.
I love that full urge to die with peace. Yeah. That's got to be comforting for you.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Well, and going back full circle, that's why I said when you asked me about the whole funeral and the process of going through her sickness and her death, how was it? Was it hard? And I was like, yeah, it should be absolutely devastating. And it was. But when I said it was easier for me than it should have been, was because, like I said, she had been talking to God and she was at peace. Yeah. Her being at peace helped me to process that whole thing a lot easier. Yeah, I'm still messed up about it, bro. I cried. I just told you early in the beginning of the podcast, dude. I'm riding down the road and all of a sudden I'm in tears. I mean, not just like driving in like baby tears. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'm crying, bro, full blown crying.
That's your baby though.
Yeah. And then I had to get myself together because I'm actually, like you said, it happens a lot of times when I'm driving down the road. It's happened even when I'm on my way into work. Yeah. And now I got to go in there and have a whole different face. Yeah. Because my job inherently is dangerous, working for the railroad. But, so, I mean, but that goes to say that's how complex as humans we are. That's how God made us. He made us, we're complex and also simple at the same time. You know what I mean?
And I got a chance to. She's not doing really well now. She's in hospice, but I got a chance to interview Paul Dominguez's wife.
Christine, yeah. Yeah.
When I talked to her, she's another one kind of at peace.
Yeah.
Living life and living life to the fullest and fighting to the last breath.
That's right. Yeah. Peace. Which is helping Paul.
Yeah.
I call him Uncle Paul. Yeah,
to be honest with you, we're all dying.
No doubt.
We just know our some people know their time in their day is a little sooner.
Yeah.
Than others. And just to have that peace, like, it's a hard thing. I think it's easy, but it's also hard to obtain. To have that peace and to lead people around. I'll tell you one thing, man. I've really told a lot of people. About a month ago, I fell and hit my head.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. I was up here the day or two after it had happened.
Yeah.
Because when we were sitting in the front smoking cigars and you told me about it. Yeah.
I hit my head. I never hit my head like that before. I went blurry. My head's kind of like a concussion, but I never felt that.
Right.
It was scary. And I was praying. And I said, first of all, I thought about my friend John Crawford, our friend John Crawford.
Yeah. And rest in peace.
Yeah. And I said, one of my prayers, because I was praying, I was scared. I prayed, I believe it.
No doubt. Yeah.
I said, don't take me away from my friendship.
Yeah.
Me, I think I'm good. I'm going to heaven. Wherever God is, I'm going. But I was like, don't take me away from my friendship. I don't want them to mourn me yet. And that was my prayer. And I think you're probably the first person that I even told that about that prayer. Yeah. I don't want to leave my friends yet. I don't want them to have to feel a loss of me yet. Yeah. Not to say I'm anybody special.
Right. I mean, it's just human.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, no doubt. I get it, man. I mean, I know we're about to end this episode, but I got to say, man, there's other family members, in my family that has suffered substantial loss, be it their mother, their grandmother. I got family in Huntsville. You know, I ain't forgot about y'all. You know, my cousins, Stump and Mickey. You know, Chattanooga. You know, they lost their father, and it was kind of traumatic how they lost him. You know, so you know, man, shout out to them, man. You know, the Huntsville crew, my family. You know, Gene. You know, I ain't forgot about y'all down there. You know, Ricky, they mom died. That was Gene's grandma. You know, all them my cousins, man. You know, Mike, Kingsley, you know, Olivia, all them. And, you know, the whole clan down there, man. I can't name all these names. You know, I can, but I'm saying it's just time limited. But, and I didn't forget about y'all, but today's discussion was just something that was heavy on my heart about my personal, you know, situation and my personal dealings with death from a significant loved one. But yeah, man. So,
it was a good one. I enjoyed it, and I'm glad that we got to talk about that. Definitely have you on. You know, I'm about to actually start a new podcast, a business podcast.
Okay.
With the company that I work for, and I want you on that one too. Talk, you know.
Okay. What's going to be the target of that one?
Right now, I kind of just want, like, they got a niche right now with veterans.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm gonna start a podcast. I think I'm gonna call it After Service. It could be a business. It could be mental health. It could be, you know, sharing some things. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it was an easy transition for you. Mm-hmm. It may have been an easy transition for you. You may have.
Well, for me it was, because I'm not like Zoe and none of them. My time, the time I was in active, and then most of it reserves. Like, I was on standby for the initial mobilization in Persian Gulf when we first started the Gulf War, but I never saw any wartime. I'm not a wartime veteran. Mm-hmm. I'm a veteran only because I was still active reserve at the time of a war conflict.
Yeah.
So, you know, but with that being said, man, I mean, my process out was fairly easy because I finished on the reserve side, so it was almost as like I'm at home anyway.
Yeah, you
I just had to do my, you know, my requirements once a year, and then the monthly drills and stuff like that. But now Zoe, somebody like that, they were more in the thick of it, you know. Yeah, so yeah, he didn't do any reserve time. He's all his time was straight active, you know. Yeah. So yeah,
I feel that.
Yeah.
Dang, I forgot.
But
my question.
Oh, but what you was talking about that though, yeah, I did. But yeah, there was benefits from it. So what I was back early when you said, like, what did it give me? And I said, well, it gave me focus and discipline. And then we divulged into me already having discipline and not having a curfew and never really getting in trouble. Yeah, I've been in locked up before. I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna be transparent. I've done some things everybody have in their past. But outside of that, you know, everything was you know, copacetic, and like it gave me, I think what it really gave me, what the military really gave me was determination.
Okay.
Meaning anything I was going through, I had to still, if there was an agenda, the agenda still had to be met. I still had to push through. And I can say it, I can make it something as simple as being in a relationship and getting into an argument with your spouse, or at the time your girlfriend or whatever, and they mad now.
Yeah.
And you mad. But then I'm like, all right, come on, what we going to eat?
Yeah.
Like, they both just be like, what? but that's something the military gave me. Mm-hmm. Outside of whatever these other factors are, mm-hmm. we already knew we was hungry before we got into this argument.
Yeah.
And we was already talking about going to eat. That didn't change. So yeah, I know you mad about that. I know you pissed off. Yeah. Where you want to go eat at?
You gonna be pissed off?
Yeah, we finna go eat. Yeah. So it's that mentality. Like, you know, you still got to push through, regardless of some stuff going on in your life. You still have to muscle through it, accomplish whatever the agenda was anyway. You know, so yeah.
I feel that, and I would say if I went in the wheelchair, man, it's funny that two of my brothers ended up in the military. If I went in the wheelchair, that was my route.
And you would probably be done by now.
Probably.
You're being 40. I mean, if you'd have went in, let's say if you'd have went in like after high school, I mean, it depends on how long you want to stay. You know, 20 years of full career.
Yeah.
You already be past that mark now. Mm-hmm. Now, it might have just happened for you in the last year or two where you like retired, but you would be done, you know, so yeah. Unless you wanted to be one of those guys that, oh, man, I did 30 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so that was always my thing. You know, we grew up and we lived in Germany, things like that, in Maryland. I grew up in Maryland, so my family's from
You were
Detroit.
very young in Germany?
Yeah, from 90 to 93, so I was, what, 4 or 5,
Okay,
either 4
because you know my next question is going to be,
what's that?
because a lot of cats over there spend time over there, they military babies, they end up learning how to speak a little German.
Yeah, so.
But you were so young, yeah.
I remember knowing certain things,
Mm-hmm.
because I still went to school, but,
yeah.
You know, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, I would love to go back over there to that bomb hoarder area. That's where I was at.
Mm-hmm.
My family was at. I would love to go back there and kind of see. And we used to go to Birch's Gardens a lot. We went there a couple times. Birch's Gardens.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that, like, some of my memories of it vividly, of being in Birch's Gardens. Yeah, man, I'm gonna end this, but the line, nobody should have to bury their child. Mm-hmm. Now that you buried your child, like, what does that mean to you? Like, is that a false thing, or is like just life is life, bro?
Life just gonna take place the way life is gonna take place. But I mean, I still think that's a very valid statement, and I think that statement has a lot of emotional steam to it. Mm-hmm. Some people hear that, and if they ain't been through it, they agree. Like you said, most people around you have good intention. They be like, "Man, you right. That's messed up, man. I can't." I've had a lot of guys be like, "Dude, I don't know what you're going through. I can't fathom."
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, I mean, and until it was a part of my personal journey, I couldn't fathom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, man, come on, dude. I hate, man, he lost his son. Blah blah blah. Man, I'm be like, man, that's messed up. But I really internally don't know what that feels like while I'm saying, you know, that's messed up ordeal they got to deal with.
Yeah, for sure.
But when it happens to you, oh man, and then it's stressful too, because it's crazy. You know, the typical stuff happens when that happens, and you know what I mean by that. Like, we're looking at this casket. No, I don't like that casket. Somebody, I like that casket. Well, that casket costs $1,000 more. I mean, that stuff happens too. Mm-hmm. Even when the big picture is we suffering a loss, and we're trying to make this as comfortable as possible. And there's always going to be somebody that say, well, I like this. You know, it's they're inflicting their personal feelings in the situation.
Yeah.
You know, and it is their personal loss, meaning, you know, whether they were a grandparent or cousin or auntie or whatever, or uncle, but it's my internal personal loss. It's my baby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you know, you deal with that too. So that's crazy, you know. Well, how much is it? Well, how much? Well, we'll pay. Well, now we're gonna pay this. Well, this is how much this got. Look here, this is what this gonna cost, and I'm the one paying this. So you know, you get into that, and that's when you hear other people say, even dealing with loss and ordeal, you got other family members that say, hey, if you ain't coming out your pocket with no money, you ain't keep your mouth closed.
Yeah, for sure. You already got too many voices.
Yeah, yeah. So you already dealing with a whole bunch of emotion anyway. Now you got to. Really? Where your money at? You know what I'm saying? You don't want to say that, but you feeling it. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, she was put away, man, good, and into, you know, I guess a formality or a finalization to this podcast is I buried her right next to my mom.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's what's up.
That was her girl. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
That's got to bring a lot of comfort.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like that, man. Is anything else you want to say before we end this? Because I want you to come on. I like talking to you, like you're my big bro. So like, I like talking to you, and I want to have more conversation with you on the podcast.
Yeah, we can do that. Today, that's been on my mind, and I guess I needed to speak about that.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't really, in detail, in this timeline, just spoke to somebody, you know, about that. And, you know, I tell people, like, people would work with me, man, what happened? I told them, you know, short version, basically, when she had this, oh, man, that cancer nasty. Well, you know, the chemo basically damaged her heart. And they was like, oh, man. But the conversation we've had, it went full circle because it even brought into how the person she was. I didn't speak to other people at length about that, you know. Like I said, she loved me, and she she loved her kids, and she definitely loved her nephews.
Yeah.
Oh man, she would. My son, man, he would be like if he went to see her, and she would have his kids and be like, "That's my babies."
Yeah.
I mean, she had that love in her like she got from me and my mom. Like definitely. I'm not saying she didn't get it from her side of the family. I'm just saying I know my personality, and I can see that from my perspective in her. So she had that, bro. Yeah, come on, that's my baby. Bring my babies over here. You know what I'm saying? That's what she taught her brother. Bring my babies over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, man. Yeah. I guess the only regret, if there were any, I would say is it would have been a blessing to see her blossom and continue to grow as a young woman. And then to see with that love and how her knowledge and how her, like I said, the love she gave, her knowledge and just her maturity would have been if I could have saw her be 40, if I could have saw her be 50, you know what I'm saying? And at the same time, that means the Lord will have to bless me to continue aging to have seen that.
Yeah.
But he had better plans for her because I guess he knew her suffering more than we did. Because she told me, and that's the thing, my kids were kind of like me. Like a lot of stuff they keep internal if it really bothers them. So like she told me after we had that when we was having that conversation, how rough the chemo was. But before then, every time I would be like, how was chemo this week? Dad, it was okay. It was good. It was a little rough. I'm just tired. But I think she meant more than that. But she just wouldn't go into it. You know what I mean?
Sure. Man, I thank you for being on the podcast today and sharing that journey of your life and being vulnerable. It's about we need more men to be vulnerable and not trying to man up and do this and that. Like I said, always welcome to be on the podcast. We can schedule more dates out.
For sure.
We can talk because you got a lot of story, man. If I wanted, it'd be like Joe Rogan talking to you. If I got every little story that I heard, what about this? I never talk about this one day.
Yeah. Oh man,
try to get deeper and stuff. But
well, I do have some story, but that's for another time.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about some of my other cousins, Stump and Mickey. They're my road dogs too, boy. Now, I can tell you some stories about Mickey not having driving license to drive me around, and just being transparent. Being young and do what young guys do. Well, I'm so drunk, I don't even know I'm in my own car. I'm in the back seat. Yeah. He driving around Chattanooga. I had subwoofers in the car and everything. He 15 years old. It's 2 in the morning.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a whole nother story, man. But he took care of me. He was just 15 years old, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. And Stump, his older brother, my other cousin that come in from L.A., they in the club.
Okay.
See, I was supposed to go in the club, but I got too drunk to go in the club. That's a story for a whole other time. So I got transported all over Chat. Didn't even know it.
You know what I'm talking? Because you was a rapper. Worked for the railroad. There was things. You had
man.
A couple different lives that you had.
Yeah, a lot of things, man. A lot of things. Worked in the medical field.
Yeah.
Before I became a railroader, and while I was trying to do a rap career, I went back to school, got re-educated, and that was my transformation from healthcare to the railroad. So got a lot of stuff I can talk about, man. Yeah,
sure. I'm with it, man. But I'm gonna get off here, y'all. It's Friday, so.
Let me say one more thing before we go. When we was talking about kids, I consider my stepdaughter Yasmin. She's in Atlanta. She's married now, but when I was mentioning kids, so I did. It was blessing for me to have Yasmin in my life at that time because I was married to her mom, but I consider her a daughter too. So with that being said, there's 2 females in my life that I would consider my daughters, and that's Jamie, which is my stepdaughter with my present wife, and that would be Yasmin, which is a stepdaughter of mine from when I was married to her mom, Amanda. So just want to didn't want to leave anybody out in your mind when you're in the moment. You forget to say some things. But
man. So shout out.
Oh, and those Species boys. He talking about that rapping. If y'all want to put another album together, you come and find me. Clay and K-Night. Still a lyrical beast.
For sure, man. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good weekend or good rest of y'all week, depending on when y'all listening.
Y'all be blessed.